Welcome all you boat lovers, this is Thunder Bandit. This is my first video, and I figured I'd introduce the boat. It's a 1989 Magnum 260 Express. We're going to be putting an oil monitor on the Outdrive today. It's all DIY installation. The reason I'm doing this is because I've looked everywhere online and I can't find a single video of anyone doing this really in its entirety. So I figured I'd make my own video and kind of track my progress as I put it together. So I hope this video comes in handy for a lot of people like myself who really could have used one, and I'll walk you through sort of my method here. So here's the system I picked up. I got it on sale because it was actually missing the canister, and then I built my own canister using a water bottle, like a Nalgene bottle almost, and put the valve in the top, put a stem through it, and it's got the little float that goes through. And down here at the bottom I actually used a different reservoir that I had from another application. I attached all the components to the bottom, screwed it all together through there, you can see there's like a rubber seal down inside. Basically built my own oil monitor, holds a lot more oil, and you can see it. It's even got, you know, measurements on it. Super cool. Eventually I'm going to plug that in to an electrical system. Now this is the line that you usually get when you get your monitor system. It should come with like a little ring like that, and more or less the seal and kind of a little hook that guides the wire through it. And that's the case that holds the Nalgene. Again, I got super lucky because that was the stock piece, and that just fits in there like butter. Pretty sweet, like a glove. Now I'm not just going into this blind. I've been doing a lot of research and spoke to a couple of guys that have been doing boats for like 40 years. Some old fellers who walked me through how to do this. So I'm going to be trying to teach my method as I sort of learn it myself. But one of the things I was taught, what was passed down to me, was to pick up some of these seal rings, and apparently that goes right on there, and you screw that down into this guy right here. But you absolutely need that ring. It may or may not have come with your kit, so just be warned. If you don't have that, you're gonna have all kinds of problems. That's why my good friend Bob gave me two. So one of the words of wisdom that was beheld upon me was to put my hole to run my wire above the water line. Don't ever put it below the water line. So as you can see, that's my fish finder over there, which runs through my hull. So if I put something roughly about here, it should give me enough space on the inside, which I'll show you, to run my cable around to the right, and then hang my monitor inside my engine compartment. Alright, so now we're inside the engine compartment area on the back of the boat. Zoom down in here, you can see at the back there where the housing is for the Outdrive. And then off to the right, off to the left there, sorry, you can see down in there, that little hole that goes into the hull. That's where my fish finder cable has gone through. So again, if I keep it about that level, I'll sort of off to the side here, I'm likely going to try to put it right about there. I'm going to run my cable along the left side here. As I have a lot of space on this side, you want to do a lot of planning. You want to figure out where you're going to put your oil monitor. It's got to make sense. You don't want to install something and then realize, like, you know, I installed it over the batteries over there, and now I got to yank my oil monitor out every time I got to change a battery or something. You want to really think this through, find a good spot. It was really hard actually finding a spot on this boat, just based on the design, how everything is. It is kind of a cramped space. The only thing I got to worry about down there is my hot water tank, but it doesn't work anyway, so probably not going to be a very major issue. But yeah, so pretty sure what we're going to do is eventually we're going to build a mount to hang it right there. So it's out of the way, but it's still very visible, right? I can take a look really quickly, see it, I can access it, and it won't be too in the way of anything else. So that's going to be the plan. So, I mean, you can do this one of two ways. You can use a measuring tape or a piece of string or even just the cable you have. This is the cable, and I can see that I'm definitely going to have enough line if I was to run that cable through that wall right there. I've got enough line to get it down and run this pipe all the way over to here, which is where it's roughly going to be. So just kind of eyeballing it, I can see it's going to work. I actually did a little more of a formal test yesterday, so if I just look like I'm being sloppy here, it's because I already know. But just basically laying it down all the way across, we can see that it will reach, and it will reach down into the Outdrive there once we install it. Again, we'll know as we go, but we'll work it out. All right, so back under the boat here, you can imagine that this is likely where I'm gonna set myself up, so that piece, that hose that comes out, wires right in to there. So giving myself lots of space, but keeping it above the water line and a little bit relatively close to the outdrive to minimize the amount of line that I'm going to need on the other end. So using a permanent statler, I just traced my seal points where I'm going to be drilling and where the hole needs to go. That'll wash off real easy. You can use either dry erase marker or any kind of alcohol-based cleaner, and that'll wipe it right off. So this is the moment of truth. This is the part of the job I really don't like doing. Putting holes in boats. Boats don't like to have holes in them, so if you're going to put a hole in your boat, just make sure you know absolutely where you're going to put that hole. Once we put these holes in, we're going to seal it all up with some caulking too, but wish me luck. Might need a longer drill. I don't even know if I made it all the way through. Alright, so using a 3/8 bit, I'm going to put a hole just above center, and I'm going to drill it again. Sorry, there we go. I'm going to put that first hole right through there. I think my battery's dying. Probably a good idea to make sure your batteries aren't dying when you do this. There we go. Hole is punched. It is deep. I'll say that. I didn't go all the way through on these ones, and that's okay because my screws probably aren't going to go in that far. But I dug in just past the fiberglass which again, these are like relief holes. You want to put relief holes in so you don't crack your fiberglass. I might drill them a little bigger depending on the size of the screw that I put through, but that's my 3/8 hole. We're just gonna check and see here. Probably won't fit. I probably might have to make it a little bigger. Yeah, it's just a little bit larger. So we're gonna go one size up, and then we're gonna cut that hole again. All right, so now that I have my first hole drilled, I'm gonna start with my 1/2 inch. Big hole. All right, we're getting there. Let's see. That ought to fit right through. Good, in there. So that goes right in. That's perfect. Feed that up there. Nice. And I think this is meant to just stay there. We'll figure that out as we come along. And then this will have to get snapped in. So we'll work on that part next. So as you can see, this almost fits. That flare piece, we want that flare piece to sit, this part to basically sit flush there. Because I can't get it in, I'm gonna probably have to go one more size up. I tried reaming it a little bit, but I don't wanna mess around with it too much. So I think I'll go one small size up, and then that should give me just enough space to get that bit in. We're not going to go all the way through either, we're just going to go far enough to get that part. Alright, here we are again. The hole has been reamed a little higher. I used a 5/8 drive this time. And that slides right in there. Now it's almost there. I probably didn't get it in far enough. As you can see, there's still a bit of gap. So I'll have to drill it just a little deeper. Pull that out really quick. Put our 5/8 in. Kind of just a trial and error thing you gotta do. You just need to keep trying. Get that in there, perfect. Okay, so it's in, it's good. And again, we're gonna caulk and seal all that once we're ready to thunder. I'm not gonna caulk anything just yet until I have this piece where I want it, and I know that that hose is inside where I want it. Alright, so for this next part, we're gonna take that screw out right here, and we're gonna put in our new valve, which will attach to here. So some things you might want to have just ready to rock. A wrench ready to put that on, screwdriver to take that piece off, and something to wipe up the mess in case it leaks. I mean, not too much oil should come out. It might still come out, you know, so just be ready. You don't want to mess when you don't need one. So let's twist that. Alright. This is a little tricky when you're holding a camera. Oh, good. So, we put oil in this last year, and this is a brand new unit. I only used it 1 year so far. My original unit had a huge crack on the bleed plug down here. There's a bleeder valve, and you can see it somewhere there, somewhere over there. There it is. Anyways, caused me to lose my whole outdrive because I lost all my oil in the water. But this time we'll be ready. So what you're kind of going to want to do, I want to make this thing go kind of line up. So I just give it a bit of a twist. That's why I'm not gluing anything yet. Make sure she's going to line up sort of like that. got my valve with my little washer, my little crush washer. Very important. Wondering if I have. You can put some Loctite on there. It's up to you. I might go get some actually. Alright, so I got my little valve here, got my Loctite on it. Just gonna turn it in, make sure it goes in nice. First by hand, thread it nicely so it doesn't strip. It's in there. It's not a reverse thread. Just gonna gently tighten her on. That's nice and snug. Beauty. Give it a wipe. She's on. Alright. Next bit. Oops. Next bit, I'm just going to grab a little more Loctite. Put it on this piece here. Good. Like I said, turning it. Just make sure it all goes in. And a hand screw that on. Oh, get in there. There we go. She's going. She's trying to go anyways. There. She's just finger tied on. And I'll go get a wrench and we'll tighten that up. Okay. So I'm just gonna use my wrench. Give it some nice turns until she stops. A lot of space on that. There we go. Lift out the right one on here. No, it's too big. There we go, she's coming. There, she's starting to stop. I just want to be careful how I do this. I want this to have some, I want this to be able to move back and forth without causing too much hassle. I think we're good. I'll lay this down here real quick. Like that. Just want to be able to lock this in. This one's a smaller one. There we go. There we go. So this should move. This will now move a little more freely. And I might drop the Outdrive later and we'll test it and make sure that there's enough space. So here's my hose. Came out right where I wanted it to. Nice and lucky. And gonna run it more or less over here. She fits like a glove. She'll plug in right here eventually. So I'm happy with that. Happy with where that is. Still gonna drop the Outdrive though, just make sure we're good to go. Alright, so with the trim almost all the way down, I can't put it too far down because I don't want to hit the ground, but still plenty of room, lots of play. So it's in the right position, I can tell. I'm happy with where it is, so I'm gonna start soliding up that hole and that hose, and we can start moving on to phase 2, which is getting the container sorted out into the hull cabin area. Alright, so here I'm basically just building a bracket, and you can build this out of anything you want. It's just something to hold the tray and the bottle, and it will mount inside the boat. So there's my bracket, and I'm just gonna put a hole straight down through that one, right there. And then I can just put a screw down in there, and that should hold it. Tickety-boo. Alright, so the bracket's coming now. Just gonna put these pieces in. 1, 2, 3. That's gonna hold. Alright, so I built my bracket. It's gonna hold my bottle. Just using a zap strap. Zap strapped it in on the back. She's solid. That'll hold. I can still slide the bottle in and out if I need to. And this bracket will mount to the wall. I'll probably put 2 drill holes in here so I can drive screws down there and it'll just boom, right there. Should be good to go. Alright, so back in the engine bay, doing another rehearsal fit with my new bracket. I think I like it further back. That way I'll be able to run that hose along the back wall. It'll be out of the way. It's a nice height from the top, and it's not in the way of the pump down there either. So again, if I have to remove it, it's only 2 screws. It's easy to take out. It's nothing too extreme. Alright, so the bracket's now installed. The canister is there. The hose goes into the canister, and I still have some room to make some minor adjustments before it goes out to the Outdrive. I'm going to have to take this off now that I know that it fits, and we're going to start working on the other end. So something I'm realizing, this bracket, which is supposed to go here, is actually backwards. It's probably meant for an Outdrive design where this hose comes out on the left side. So it's not a big deal, but I'm just going to have to bend that the other way, so I'm going to do that. Alright, so I've bent my bracket back the other way, and then I just treated it with a rust-proof paint. Now it'll just go back on here, right there. And then that piece will fit through there in a sec. Once I pull this off, what we'll do is we'll put this like that. If I can. Perfect. There we go. Piece goes down onto here. Slides in to place. I'm just looking here. I want to make sure I do this the right way. So we don't want that breaking. So that looks like it locks it there. Good and solid. That goes back on there. Through there. Good. So as that moves, this will stay more or less there. Okay. Put our brackets on washers. So that now goes on tight. This one's a bit of a funny one. probably use a wrench to tighten that one after. Alright, so that's on. So now that we've got the inside, I pumped a whole bunch of silicone caulking in there, which will help close that gap. I'll put a little more in after we got the seal on, and I'm going to put the screws on here next to screw that thing in place. Remember to use stainless steel screws so they don't rust. Helps a lot. Alright, so before driving the screws in, I'm going to put a little bit of silicone into these holes. Just press it in. Some more silicone around there, maybe. You can never have too much silicone. Alright. More screws. Okay. Trying to find the hole here. There's one. And there's the other. I'm gonna put the bottom one in first, as it's the trickiest. You gotta kind of bend things, make them fit. So we'll get that guy in there. Good. He started off well. Number one. Good. Here's my drill. One. There we go. Just make sure that guy down there is in there. There, nice and tight. Oh, she's on. Now what we'll do, for added good measure, we're gonna caulk just around here. Fancy bead. Good. On our fingers. Good to go. She's set.
You got it in?
It's in. So now, it's all there. Okay, so here it is. The monitor is connected into the Outdrive. Hose goes up into the hull of the rear of the transom. You can see I added a bit of caulking under there just to seal it off. Don't want any water getting in anywhere. Again, it's above the water line, so it should be okay. Alright, so on the inside of the boat, you can see the caulking actually came through a bit, so that's real good. I'm going to touch that up later. And then what we're going to do over here is we just got to put that piece back on when we clamp it down underneath. We're going to do that next. We're going to clamp it, there's a little button down there. You can see it somewhere. I think it's right here on this side. Alright, so it's all wired in there. You can see the hose comes through here. I'm going to mount it there. Eventually I'll put a little clip of some kind. And turn it around here. You can see where the clamps it right into the bottle. So the bottle should be good now. Everything should be ready to rock. We should be able to fill it pretty soon. Alright, so here we're going to put our gear oil into the monitor. And we'll just let that fill up. Now what I'm probably going to do is I'll fill it to about half and we'll see what happens. This thing holds about a quart, which is great. There we go. Going in. Leave it like that. There's a little bit left in the bottle, but I just want to see if it should go down. But it's right now it's sitting at 900 mils, and we'll come back and we'll check it in about 30 minutes and see if it's dropped down into the actual outdrive, because it's got to go through that whole hose and down into the outdrive. So we'll come back and check on it. Alright, so just checking it out here now. You can see the level has dropped just slightly. I went down and I checked the outdrive. I loosened off the little screw, and I could see oil coming through it. So it just gave it a light loosen, and I could see oil coming out. So I tightened it back up, and that shows that this oil has made it all the way down there. Again, so there's a valve up here, which is really important for relieving that pressure. You want to make sure the pressure doesn't build up too much. But I mean, I'm not too worried either way. It turned out really great. It looks really great. I can show you the back side there in a sec to show you what it looks like with the outdrive raised up. Okay, so you can see the outdrive is raised up here, and like I said, I loosened this off just a little bit, and a little bit of green fluid came out. So I know that the whole line has oil in it, and yeah, so she's good to go. I'm gonna do a second video eventually of how to hook up the electrical line to set up the sensor and everything to send off an alarm if that level ever drops. But like I said, I'll do that in a different video. Special thanks to my buddy Tim and his dad Rob for giving me all the know-how and advice on this. If you guys ever want to look them up out in Sheffield, if you're in New Brunswick, Sheffield Boatyard, just east over Mukto there. Alright, so if anyone has any questions, just give me a shout in the comments, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this build.